Okay, let's just jump right in with the big one. The question I think everyone's asking themselves, will your job exist in 5 years? I mean, if you felt that kind of professional anxiety, that sense the ground is shifting under your career, you are definitely not alone. Today, here at the Deep Dive, we're going to try and cut through all the noise. We want to map out exactly where the job market is going and, more importantly, identify the precise skills you need right now to, secure your future.
And we absolutely have to start with the speed of this. The sheer velocity, all the source material points to one thing.
Yeah.
We are in the middle of a technological shift of unprecedented velocity. This isn't just new software.
No, it's not another app.
Exactly. It's a profound restructuring of work, and it's driven by generative AI and increasingly autonomous AI agents. We're moving from tools that just help us calculate things to systems that perform really sophisticated cognitive tasks for us.
And when you say velocity, it really feels fast. Every source we looked at suggests AI adoption is accelerating at a speed rarely seen with new technology.
Yeah.
We're kind of past the let's try it out phase, right?
Oh.
Companies are going into full-scale integration.
Oh, absolutely. Look, the numbers are pretty stark. By 2030, a staggering 70% of companies globally will have integrated at least one form of AI into their operations.
70%.
Yeah. And what's really critical is that the timeline that policymakers and businesses are now laser focused on. They've identified this crucial 18-month period starting now to plan for the labor market disruption.
18 months. That's a very narrow window.
It tells you everything you need to know about the urgency.
That tight deadline is definitely a bit daunting for any professional, but it makes sense when you look at the economic engine behind it. There's just a massive financial incentive here.
It's enormous. The simulation suggests AI is going to deliver an additional $13 trillion in global economic activity by 2030.
13 trillion.
It's hard to even picture. But when you dig in, you see where that money comes from. It's mostly from two things. Huge increases in efficiency from automation, which is, substituting labor, and then from increased innovation.
So, okay, that brings us to that big paradox, the great duality of AI that we always hear about. It displaces jobs, but it also creates them. I think the number is what? It displaces 92 million jobs, but creates 170 million new ones?
That's the projection, yes. And on paper, that is a net positive. More jobs overall.
But it's not that simple, is it?
Not at all. That net positive number, it's a bit misleading because it masks the immense difficulty of the transition itself. The problem, the real challenge, is that the skills needed for those 170 million new jobs are fundamentally different from the skills of the 92 million jobs being lost.
It's not the same people just moving to a different desk.
Exactly. The sources are pretty clear on this. They suggest a staggering 14% of global employees, that's an estimated 375 million workers, will be forced to change careers entirely by 2030.
375 million people.
Think about the scale of that reskilling effort. It means continuous learning isn't just a good idea anymore. It's the new professional minimum.
Okay, let's unpack that. If millions of people are going to be forced to change, we need to get specific. Where are the pressure points? Which roles, which skills are facing the most immediate risk right now?
We can actually establish a pretty clear rule of thumb here. The highest risk is concentrated in professional tasks that are routine, structured, and rules-based.
So if your job is doing the same thing over and over.
Pretty much. If your daily work involves executing predefined steps, processing large volumes of data, or recognizing patterns over and over again, AI is simply built to do that cheaper, faster, and with fewer errors.
And this is where we hit what I thought was the most surprising thing in the source material, the white-collar paradox. Because for years, the narrative was about factory robots. But this revolution is coming for the knowledge worker first.
It is.
Highly educated, white-collar professionals, especially those earning up to, say, $80,000 a year, are among the most likely to be affected. This is not a blue-collar issue anymore. It's an office issue.
It's the administrative, the documentation, the compliance, and oversight functions. They're all highly susceptible. The research points to specific roles like telemarketers, sure, but also insurance underwriters, tax preparers, and even title examiners.
Let's use title examiners as an example. That sounds like a job that really requires careful human oversight of complex legal documents. How is AI a threat there?
Because the very nature of that oversight is changing. AI is incredible at spotting anomalies and recognizing patterns across massive data sets.
So it can scan decades of property records in a second.
Instantly, it becomes the primary surveillance system. And so the human role shifts away from that repetitive checking, the simple data monitoring, and it moves toward the much more complex, non-routine function of troubleshooting.
Ah, so you're only called in for the weird stuff.
Exactly. You're troubleshooting the unique, high-stakes faults that the AI flags but can't resolve on its own. You stop being the data processor, and you become the ultimate system validator, the problem solver.
That distinction, moving from processor to problem solver, that feels like the key. If AI handles the structured stuff, then we have to double down on what the algorithms can't do. Not yet, anyway. The sources suggest a pretty clear dual investment strategy for this. You have to cultivate AI fluency on one hand and strengthen what they call indispensable human skills on the other.
That dual investment is the blueprint. So let's start with that. That inviolable human core, the things machines just can't fully replicate. First up is contextual reasoning and creativity. This is what you need for brand new problems, for unexpected scenarios, for situations with, ethical ambiguity.
Right. If you're trying to fix a supply chain failure that's never happened before, the AI's training data won't help.
It's useless there. That requires human judgment.
And then there's the physical world, the messy real world. That's still a huge protection.
Absolutely. Tradespeople, electricians, plumbers, specialized technicians, they are navigating these messy settings. Old buildings, unique layouts, storm damage. Things that completely defeat rigid, rules-based automation.
And what about roles based on human connection?
Also highly protected. Roles that demand trust, empathy, and really high-level nuanced communication. Think doctors, therapists, great teachers. The human connection is the core of what they deliver.
Which means the premium on soft skills is it's skyrocketing. Emotional intelligence, EQ, it's not a buzzword anymore. It's a critical skill for just being effective at work. You need it for client relationships, for managing teams, for building trust.
And that ties directly into communication and collaboration. You need to be able to cooperate, obviously, but more specifically, you need to be able to translate what the AI is telling you, these complex, kind of opaque outputs, into clear, actionable strategies for the business.
I see. So you're the bridge.
You're the bridge. And what's wild is that over half of CEOs surveyed believe that culture change, it is all about EQ and communication, is more critical to their success with AI than overcoming the purely technical challenges.
That is a stunning statistic. If culture is the main hurdle, then the mandate for us as individuals has to be continuous adaptation. It's not something you do once in your career anymore. It's a perpetual state.
This perpetual learning is exactly what's creating these new, high-value AI-native roles. Let's look at the AI fluency side of that dual investment. The most talked about one, of course, is the prompt engineer.
The person who knows how to talk to the machine.
Right, but it's much more than just asking questions. A good prompt engineer designs, tests, and refines the precise instructions, the prompts, to steer these huge large language models toward reliable, accurate outcomes.
They're the ones who reduce the hallucinations.
Exactly. They stop the AI from just making stuff up. And that optimization has massive business value, so it's becoming a critical skill.
And then you have the governance rules popping up too.
You do. You need the AI ethicist or a responsible AI lead, someone to build the governance frameworks and mitigate bias to ensure accountability. And the AI product manager, the indispensable bridge. They connect the tech complexity to actual business value. They're the ones who make sure a new machine learning feature actually delivers a return on investment.
So for someone listening, maybe a career veteran, not a recent computer science grad, who's thinking, how do I pivot into one of these roles? The sources offer a really practical strategy, skill stacking.
Skill stacking is this idea that your existing industry experience is your greatest asset. It's a multiplier. The smartest approach is to fuse your existing domain knowledge. Say you're an expert in finance or healthcare or even philosophy with an AI or data science overlay.
So you combine what you already know with a new technical skill.
Yes. The person who understands complex healthcare regulations and knows how to do advanced prompt engineering is way more valuable in that field than a generalist CS grad.
So you don't need to go back to school for 4 years.
Absolutely not. You can pivot through targeted resources. Look for certifications like the IBM Applied AI certificate or the Google Advanced Data Analytics one. And if you want to be a prompt engineer, there are already specialized, hands-on courses you can take to formalize that skill.
Okay, let's talk about the mindset shift here. We have to stop seeing AI as just a threat, as something that eliminates work. The goal is to reframe it as a tool for augmentation, to use it to handle the repetitive and frankly boring parts of our jobs.
It's about achieving a kind of super agency through partnership. The machine handles the mechanics, and the human focuses on strategy and innovation.
And that partnership really demands that the human moves from being a content producer to a critical evaluator.
That's the core of it. Critical thinking becomes the essential oversight skill. You have to constantly assess the reliability, the potential bias, the implications of what the AI generates.
You have to be the adult in the room.
You have to be the adult in the room. That's how you retain control in high-stakes decisions.
Now, zooming out, this kind of massive transformation, it requires big structural responses. We can't talk about displacing 375 million people without talking about societal safety nets. And the one that always comes up is universal basic income, or UBI.
UBI has very strong proponents. They argue it's a necessary safety net to deal with poverty as automation increases. But the sources show it's hotly debated. Critics argue UBI is not only incredibly expensive, trillions to implement in a large economy, but more importantly, it's just not enough on its own.
Insufficient how?
It fails to address the deeper systemic issues that give people real security and upward mobility. UBI provides a floor, sure, but it doesn't guarantee quality healthcare or affordable education or the infrastructure people need to retrain for these new AI jobs.
So it manages the problem instead of solving it?
Exactly. It manages displacement instead of fostering genuine opportunity. And there's a pretty strong critical view that UBI promotion, especially by some tech elites, kind of masks their own role in creating the displacement in the first place.
It's an economic fix that avoids a deeper structural responsibility.
Precisely. And that's why governments and economists are looking at other ideas, things like updating fiscal policies, taxing the data that AI models rely on, or even implementing a robot tax.
A robot tax, what does that actually mean?
The basic idea is a tax on the productivity gains from automation. So if a company replaces 100 workers with software and saves, say, $5 million in salaries, a portion of that savings is taxed.
And that tax revenue is used for?
In theory, it's used to fund retraining programs, education, and the safety nets for those displaced workers. It's an attempt to make sure the immense wealth being generated by AI is more broadly distributed and help society adapt.
This has been a really critical deep dive. I think for anyone listening, for the augmented professional of tomorrow, we've laid out a clear strategic triad. First, cultivate AI fluency mastering, things like prompt engineering. Second, elevate those indispensable human skills EQ, creativity, critical thinking. And third, just embrace continuous adaptation. The learning can't ever really stop. Start your reskilling journey today.
I will leave you with one final thought, something to chew on. If the total economic uplift from AI is going to be $13 trillion, and that wealth is generated mostly by reducing labor costs, the fundamental challenge is one of equitable distribution. So the question for you is, how will you position yourself not just to survive this transition, but to make sure that your strategic skill investment allows you to capture a piece of that new immense wealth? The future of work is about defining your place in that $13 trillion economy.